Utah is, of course, one of the most conservative states in the nation, but they decided to be extremely progressive on the issue of homelessness, and the results are in from their experiment, and it was great. So in 2005, they implemented what's called the Housing First program, and what they did is, very simply, they gave homeless people a one-room apartment, and they let them stay there for $0. So what happened as a result of this? Well, all these years later now, they almost fully eradicated chronic homelessness. Quote, there's been a 74% drop in homelessness. They had over 2,000 chronically homeless people. Now it's just 300. They say Salt Lake City has calculated that it costs about $20,000 a year to serve homeless people the traditional way, and only $8,000 a year to give them housing. So, in other words, and we've discussed this before on the show, when you have somebody who's homeless and they don't have anywhere to go at all, they end up going to prison, they end up going to the hospital, they end up going to the mental institution, they end up costing the taxpayers more money via all these different social services. And it's actually less expensive to just give them a small one-room apartment. They also say, quote, in Charlotte, North Carolina, a Housing First program that served 85 homeless adults was the subject of a 2-year study that found residents experienced a 78% decrease in arrests, spent 372 fewer days in a hospital, and spent $1.8 million less on healthcare costs. Another study out of Seattle found that participants in a Housing First program cut their average use of state-run programs from $4,066 before being housed to just $1,492 afterwards. So I said it before, I'll say it again. If you do this program, and if you do it nationwide, you save money. You save tax dollars. All the deficit hawks, all the fiscal conservatives should be pushing for this. You save money and you fix the problem. So you win both on a moral front and you also win on a fiscal front. So it's wins all around if you do this policy. Now, here's the part of the conversation that's really, really interesting, because now we get into psychology and motivation. What led Utah to do this? Because, again, Utah is one of the most conservative states in the nation. Well, it's likely the fact that, number one, so many people in Utah are Mormon, so they all view them as, like, in their inner group. You know how we always talk about the in-group, out-group mentality, the tribal mentality? In Utah, everybody's like, well, everybody around me is a Mormon, so they're all part of my in-group, therefore I actually give a shit about them, right? So it's that and the fact that they're homogenous. See, that's something, this has always pissed me off so much about people in general, is that, and you saw this with Social Security too. When Social Security was expanded to actually include black people, because it didn't originally include black people, soon as they did that, as soon as Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security included black people, white people went from being like 100% for it, and then it dropped like 30 percentage points in white people supporting it. So when it was white people only paying into a system that white people benefited from, they all loved it. But as soon as black people benefited from it, they reframed it in their own mind as, look at these moochers, these parasites, these people who are lazy. That's interesting. When it was only white people taking it, you didn't think they were lazy. You didn't think they were moochers. You were in favor of the program. You loved the program. Then now you dislike it more when black people get it. So what does that show you? People have this fear of multiculturalism. People are like naturally xenophobic. Or let's be more specific. In this case, white people. Where if it's a homogenous society, they're like, oh, these are all my brothers, these are all my friends, I don't care, I'll pay a little more taxes to help them out. But when it's all different types of people, all different religions, all different ethnicities, all different races, all different belief systems, all of a sudden everybody becomes a dick. And they're like, no, fuck it, I don't want them to get anything. So that's why a conservative state likely implemented this uber progressive program, because they're like, what do you mean? They're just helping people here. So what every state should do is they should copy this, and the federal government should move forward on this because, look, again, there is no argument against it. The only argument against it is ignorance. You don't know about the program, so you don't push for it. But if you learn about it, then you know that you save money, the taxpayers save money, and you fix the problem. It's a win-win. We just need Congress to get their head out of the ass of corporate America and focus on the American people for just a day.